Good evening, everybody, and welcome to WANA Live, the reading series of the Writers Association of Northern Appalachia. And I noticed that there is an absence of my partner in crime here this evening. And I swear the reason why he's not here with us tonight is because he didn't want to be embarrassed for me wishing him a happy birthday tomorrow. So if you see Damian Dressig anywhere out there, tell him happy birthday. Anyway, so tonight it's just me flying solo with another mad woman, and I am absolutely thrilled to introduce you to her. Stephanie Ramser is a mad woman and Pittsburgh transplant with a BFA in creative writing from Chatham University. When she's not working, she obsesses about food, fermentation, and how many more tropical plants she can trick to grow in Pittsburgh, which I'd love to hear more about. Her work can be found in the Sigma Tau Delta Rectangle, Pittsburgh Poetry Review, and The Minor Bird. So I'm going to bring Stephanie on.
Hi,
Hey, Stephanie.
how are you?
How are you? So a couple of things about that profile. I became a member of Sigma Tau Delta in 1994. So I'm still a card-carrying member, and that's awesome that you are too. Have you ever gone to any of their conferences or anything?
Yeah, I've gone to a couple. The last one I went to, or I was actually scheduled to go to the one in 2020, which didn't happen because of COVID, but I was very excited for Vegas.
I think a lot of people were very disappointed because, well, of the community, but also because of the location. That's for sure. And for those of you who don't know, Sigma Tau Delta is an international English honor society. So happy to promote that every chance I get. And I'm actually the faculty sponsor for that at California University of Pennsylvania. So glad to meet another member. The other thing that you said in your bio was that you like tricking tropical plants to grow in Pittsburgh, which is fascinating to me because, as you I'm sure know, this used to be a tropical area until plates moved and things happened, and then here you have it. Though it still feels tropical with all the rain and gray skies, but what's that all about? I gotta know.
It kind of started with seeing if things would grow, like lemon seeds, and then I used to work as a barista. A customer gave me a mango, and I planted that,
Oh,
and the collection just kind of continued to expand from there.
so have
So
you been able to get mangoes to grow here?
yeah, it's only 3 years old though, so it's not that big.
No, I get you. Wow. You could open a restaurant called the Pittsburgh Mango or start a journal or something like that. The only known mango grown in Pittsburgh. I love that. I love that. Trying to adapt. And I have a lot of friends who during the pandemic were trying to grow. Let's see if I take this stub of celery that I have and grow new celery. And let's see if I can take this avocado pit and grow some more avocados. So I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. The only downside is, as things get larger and larger, my lemon tree's bigger than me now, is,
Oh,
like, holding it and finagling it through the door so it's not sitting outside getting frozen in our
yeah, that's
lovely
true.
tropical frozen winters.
My one friend who has a tropical plant that's large, she has it on wheels. So it's in a pot on a caster that she can roll in. But if you have to go up steps or from a deck to an in like over a hump or something, that's not gonna work. So
Yeah, it's luckily on the same level right now, but previously it was up a flight of stairs. That was when it was much smaller, so that I've moved since then, but I'm sure it looked ridiculous to anyone watching, like, seeing people carry, like, at least a dozen of tropical, like, potted plants upstairs in the fall.
not thinking, around here that that would even be a possibility. But I love that. I mean, I think that says a lot about who you are and how you think about things. Like, that's not impossible. I'm going to give it a try.
I'll give it a try. Now it's kind of uh some of them got a little bit crispy this winter and too cold, but most of them are doing good, so they like they're trucking.
They're willing to try if you are, I guess.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to be reading tonight for us?
I have a couple poems today.
Excellent.
Some of them are about fermentation.
Well, there we go. I'm glad I brought it up. And
Yes.
you should know we do have people that are watching. And Eloise says hi from Canada.
Hi, Eloise.
And Carol Lee says hi, Steph. So excited to hear you read. And the Watershed, our friends in Brookville, they said the only known mango is the best name for a lit journal. I would totally buy that. I would read that. Definitely. So I'm going to disappear and let you do your thing. And I'll be
Okay.
back.
Alrighty. I'm gonna start with a shorter poem. This one's called Forgotten Starter. My sourdough slime is growing wild, black hairs like stubble I neglect to shave from my legs in winter. 3 hairs to a pour. And although natural, I retch and scrape it away, hope the next feeding will help the yeast outcompete rot. But like anything decaying, you can only curb the decline. My girlfriend tells me you can always make a new one, but the slime's name is Penny now because she smells like metal and tastes like it too. Not in bread, when I remember to do that and can spare a day babying the breath and rise of a bull. My mother used to say, marry a baker or a banker, so either way you'll always have bread. But I've only ever been able to do things the hard way, and the number of times I skip a feeding, have to skim the sweat from the top, flake off drying yeast skins, tell me I'm not ready to mother bacteria. All right. I don't know if anyone else has had a sourdough starter that they've forgotten, but they get really gross. um, I should feed mine. I have, all right, another poem. This one is not quite so gross. This is called Power Walking Up Penn Ave. We are weeks away from crocuses, and I am wearing short sleeves outside the first time this year. The hair on my arm raises a warning I ignore to seek the sunlight. Like new leaves pushing through the soil, desperate for breath and warmth, and every inch of me, paled by the long winter, needs to breathe. I slow my walk to take stock of the city coming out of open mouth hibernation. I see a woman on her blue bike wobble past in front of the Bride of Pittsburgh, pedaling so slowly her body seems impossibly relaxed, teetering at her own pace. She has groceries in her basket, in no hurry to arrive, in no hurry to get them cooking. Behind her, the bride is coming home. She's always coming home, climbing her stairs, brown face glowing against red brick. There's somebody she loves, and I love her. I am the only one who stops to wave. A dog jumps out of a car on a laughing woman's legs. She's his home. 2 men are pretending their whole bodies are hands, holding each other in front of the gate of the cemetery. Casual runners toe walk out to test this first false spring. Serious runners pace like shirtless wild dogs. A teenager waiting in a Jeep at a stop sign takes a moment to turn the steering wheel forth and back, to rock the wheels. The Jeep taps its feet. A girl on a scooter rockets towards the bride, beaded hair chiming in the winds. Her parents slow behind her, sharing a single cigarette. People watching feeds my heart in a way food can't touch. Each moment a gift witnessed only by me. We are sharing an intimacy they'll never know, whether or not they care to. And I am becoming part of the strange scenery. Stop to take a photo in a fogged, shattered mirror. I wonder who is here to witness me adjusting my body, to capture my face in spidered glass. Another person in the city pausing a power walk to become. I am splitting into a million broken girls with a million broken braids, living a million different lives that all meet in this still moment. Every breath, a rupture, and some reflections, she's blooming. I don't think I realized how long that one was to read out loud. I'm sure other poets know and have made this mistake before. All right. This one is called Tepache. The YouTube video shows me how to pluck the pineapple like a chicken. Remove the rind. I soothe ranas over my poked fingertips and replay the video in English while the Pionchio volcano crumbles under hot water, mixes in the jar with pineapple skins into an ugly, sick piss brown. I sneak a taste from the lip of a spoon the same way my sister and I used to down mugs of hot chocolate over countertops. As a child, I thought food was easy, and the blood made me nauseous. Now I know food has been prettified, funk and fermentation outsourced to labs instead of kitchen counters, clay pots, and grandmother's hands. I never learned to make bread or kraut, and my wines are often dry and bitter still, so I feel my way through the kitchen one misstep at a time. I tend my tepache like a child, push her breaching parts back under the surface twice a day until her crown of foam grows and stiffens like early meringues. I divide her and smother under pressure until twisting the cap off makes her hiss sweet, drinkable foam. I toast to $3 pineapples and learning to use all parts of the plant because maybe this making is remembering. Let's see, what time is it? All right, this is another long one. This is called Dandelion Wine. I don't know if anyone has read Anne Carson's translation of Sappho, where she uses the brackets to omit pieces that just don't exist anymore in the original text. So I tried to write a poem using brackets like that. But the problem with that is I can't make pieces of my poem go missing. So there's some gaps, and I'm still figuring out how to read this one. Dandelion Wine after Anne Carson. 1. I am crawling on hands and knees to pick flowers on FaceTime, while you tell me about your fiancé leaving you. He kept your dog. You, alone, move across the country to escape memories this landscape keeps. You say, I'm alone here. I say, only for now, and you change subjects to ask when you can taste this wine I'm making. Your hair is golden, and despite the light in your office, the blue rings under your eyes say, somebody help me. And my noisy plastic grocery bag says nothing, but fills slowly with air and golden heads. I lean over the phone, hang the decollated heads on my glasses, turning my eyes into furious suns. I hope to charm you back into wanting to live, but 2. My phone dies on us. It's freckled in pollen, hanging on the now mirror like a galaxy. Yours has just expanded, and I think the nothingness scares you. 3. When I settle in at home, I sit to remove the collars choking petals into one soft, puckered expression. The dandelions have remembered how to sleep, heads hanging from their own ghosts. Oh, how quickly open things close. My thumb is left tender and raw from the peeling. The bowl is half Rumpelstiltskin silk, half umbrella seed heart. 4. In ancient Greece, violets meant humility, poppies, sleep. So were dandelions all martyrs, born with tufts down their throats? Like women are taught to swallow cotton, to live muffled lives, or is this how women are built for escape? Holding close, nectar, a pearl, and the pistol. Did Sappho write of violets only in women's hands like a refrain of wilting? All right, and I have one more poem. This one is called Pith. I don't care how caked with mud your nails are when you peel away the wrapper to consume. Even though we don't have to share, you split every orange down the middle. Your hands hold the heat of the sun as you part the pith, give me my half of summer. The ritual leaves you perfumed, so that hours later, the scent lingers when I kiss your fingers. Bite. That's all I've got, Bria.
That was so wonderful. Thank you so much. I really love imagery and the sensualness that comes along with your work. It was wonderful. And I too had a forgotten sourdough starter that when you say is gross, that doesn't begin to describe it. But you also referenced that idea that we've become so abstracted, so far away from food preparation that we don't realize that some of it, there's stages of it that is absolutely unappetizing. Um, there are moments when you think nobody's going to want to eat that. I don't want to even look at it. But in the end, it turns out to be this wonderful thing. And I think when you said, and someone else talked about this too, it was Emily. She says, maybe this making is remembering. And I think if I had to sum up your work tonight, that's probably the line that I would use.
Thank you.
Yes. And go ahead.
No, I haven't been to a reading in a while, so I appreciate the compliments, and I
No,
feel
really,
I think people.
you have lots. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I think people, or at least I, like as a kid, didn't realize how gross food was. Like I knew, like, ew, chickens, there's no skin on them, but like seeing more diverse like cuisines and also like seeing people's reactions to them that haven't experienced like eating food that's different from what they're used to. They're like, ew, that's gross. Like it's gross because you haven't had it and you didn't grow up like eating it. And things I used to think were gross, I think are delicious now. And that's not
Oh,
entirely
sure.
because like I've prepared them. Part of that's just like being exposed to them. Like I remember being a kid and thinking kimchi was absolutely disgusting and weird because it's like semi-rotten. Essentially, we're eating semi-rotten food, but I love it now. I can just eat that in rice. So,
Sorry, we had a temporary outage, but I'm with you. I think the first time I ever saw kimchi, I was like, and now it's like a regular part of my, I mean, I have jars of it in my refrigerator.
mhm.
The first time I ever made sauerkraut, I was a little girl, but now that's a process. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I think though, when you are part of that process, just like growing your own mango tree, um, you appreciate it in ways that you can't if you're just buying it off the shelf. I mean, there's just a whole new appreciation for all of it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, the idea of when you say that the dandelions have remembered how to sleep, I don't think that you can think that way if you're not down there on your hands and knees in the field up close gathering them. I think that that sensual process um, makes you realize just how much we take for granted by walking through the world and not like being in it.
I also think a lot of people are very removed from that. Like, I don't think I realized all flowers, or at least most of them, close at night when they're not getting light until I was like a teenager. Like, it wasn't something I was made aware of. It wasn't something I was taught. I kind of just was like, why is it closed? Flowers are supposed to be like
Yeah,
this.
right. Well, and I
Um,
think when you realize it, it seems like magic.
yeah, there's like an element of magic there, and it makes me like appreciate. I'm sure you probably as well. Like I grew up reading like myths and fairy tales, and they had like explanations for things like that. And
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes I think that even though we have, more scientific answers for stuff, parts of me wants to go on believing some of the myths just because they're just more beautiful.
they're more fun.
Way more fun. I mean, the idea of little people and gnomes and little fairies, and why isn't that okay? That's good. I believe that. And you talked about spring, in your poem, and wearing a t-shirt for the first time, and so on. And I had my students think about spring the other day. There was this quote, and I do not remember where it came from. I was trying to look it up while you were talking, and um, about how some people dread spring. And I find that so compelling because I always look so forward to spring, since winter is such a slog, especially in this area. But I had my students write about that, and at least half of the class said that they dreaded spring too. And I found your poem to be just really interesting, and certainly contradictory to what I had just talked about earlier today about spring.
That's interesting. Why did they say why they dread it?
For some of them, they said that they prefer being in the house watching Netflix, and if when it's springtime, they feel guilty if they're not out enjoying the weather, which is compelling to me. And there were others of them said that it meant that summer was on the way, and they hate summer. And I'm over here going, I look forward to summer. I wish it was summer all year round, but here we are. So yeah, it was really interesting. You have tons and tons of comments over here. Let's see. Carol Lee says she loves the line, turning my eyes into furious suns. I wrote that one down too. Emily says, is this how women were built, for escape? And well, isn't that provocative? And Eloise says, well done. So that's good. And the Watershed chimed back in again and said, you read beautifully. And I couldn't agree more. I thank you so much for coming on the show tonight and sharing your work.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed seeing the different Madwomen featured through the month.
Oh, we're so lucky. We've had Mad Women on the show many times, but to be able to have a whole month of Mad Women is like, awesome. You got the basketball March Madness, but we have the real Mad Women.
Yeah, I was thinking that March Madness for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Or what are you working on now? Do you have something that's in the works, like a chapbook or something, or a book of poetry?
I would love to say yes, officially. Officially, no. Unofficially, I think I'm probably gonna end up with a collection of weird poems about things in my kitchen.
I love that.
That seems to be a trajectory, whether I'm trying to do that or not. Those are the poems I've been writing recently, and I don't know if that's because I've been at home so much during the pandemic, or if that's just what I meant to write about and be obsessed with. So,
well, I think that you should call it Weird Things in My Kitchen, because I'm pretty sure that people would read that.
Weird Things in My Kitchen.
Yeah, Weird Things in My Kitchen, a chapbook, exactly. And I was hoping that we would, of course, get a cameo appearance by your cat. Since we didn't have that benefit, we have a cameo by my cat Toby. So
here's a good one. Well, my cat's right at my feet, trying to get up where my hair.
Oh yes, of course. We the one thing we've learned about being oh my goodness, you're happy too.
He's giant.
He is. He's a big guy. Look at that, Tobe. But one thing we can say about this pandemic, it let us all take a look at everybody else's fur children. And so that's much appreciated on my end. So thank you again for being on and sharing your work. And I certainly will look forward to reading more of it as you continue on with your process of thinking about the weird things in your kitchen. I think it'll be interesting once a lot of these books and works make it to publication, to see what the writing of the pandemic looks like. Because I don't think it'll all be, doom and gloom and anxiety, but I think that many people like you have managed to create something, to make something out of, like you said, in that one line, where was it again? Making is remembering, but also making new things from, a situation that hasn't all been positive, but has certainly allowed us to find other ways of being in the world.
Yeah, even if that's being around like Crow's overly sourdough starter.
Well, I was thinking that mine was going to end up like the blob or something because it was starting to like ooze, and then it totally collapsed in on itself. And I'm like, should I have a funeral for this, or what happens now? I don't know what to do. So, anyways, thank you so much for being on this show, and good night, everybody. We have one more Madwoman left to come on this month, and Beatrice Vassar will be with us on Thursday night to celebrate our 2-year anniversary of WANA Live. So see everybody next week. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.